Welcome to the Choose on Purpose podcast. I am your host, Becky Ploutz. And if you are the type of person that believes in possibility and you want some tips for abundance thinking, then this is definitely going to be the podcast episode that you're going to stay tuned in for. So, I am an empowerment photographer, I am a speaker, coach. I am your connection strategist. That means that I really focus on supporting women in being their authentic selves, giving them encouraging accountability and support, holding space for their intentions to be more of who they're designed to be. And we take messy, imperfect action along the way of becoming that person every single day. And we're all about cultivating a community to continue to grow. And today we're going to be talking about embracing the possibilities and what that brings to us and having that abundance mentality. And I'm really excited to share some tips around that. And from my standpoint, and the way that I've really just looked at possibility in my life, I've worked on it for sure. And what I know is that when I look at the challenges that I've had and continue to work through when they come, I'm most successful when I have the outlook that something is happening for my greater good versus old me, past self would have, considered a pity party or playing the victim card and like really doubling down on the negative self-talk, right? And looking at how I can be uncomfortable, but also find opportunities to look at, that side of thinking that gives you hope, that really gives you the space to keep the faith that it's happening for your greatest good. And that's been really the foundation for me of continuing to think abundantly and be willing to transform really day by day, incrementally. It's very minuscule and it builds. It has a force of momentum behind it because I'm stacking that possibility, embracing that with action, with messy, imperfect, tiny baby steps, but action nonetheless, right? So, thinking about how I've been aligning myself in those action steps is really coming from the belief in possibility that things are happening for me, that there's new opportunities, that there's doors opening, doors closing, and those are always right on time for me and for the greater good of everyone that is around me. And I'm going to grab this and share this insight that I heard on a podcast recently that she mentioned she does this, prayer, and it says, Lord, if this is for me, open the door in such a manner that no man can close, including me. Okay. And then when I'm mentioning the idea of, doors closing or opening, the other side of that, of course, is if this is not for me, close the door in such a manner that no person can open, including myself. I found this to be very supportive in just thinking about how I can remind myself in those moments that if it's for me, it will be, right? And it's very simple and it can be challenging to continue to remind myself that it can be that simple. It can be that easy to look for possibility and be willing to step through in the unknown moments, the uncertainty of how something's going to look or feel right away, and, the result that it could bring, and all of those things, right? Thinking about how do you ground yourself or, give yourself the power to believe in the possibilities around you. I hope that this is supportive. It was very supportive for me. I'll just say that. It was very supportive for me to just like have that quick little one-liner literally to just remind me. And then I also, I think about um the way that we choose to think about possibilities. It really goes to that Henry Ford quote, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And that one stays true with me all the time as well. I say that to my children, when they say, "I can't do that," I'm like, "Well, then you're gonna continue to not be able to," right? Like, making sure that I'm always exempling that to my kids has been a big part of living out that opportunity to embrace what's possible in my day-to-day life. So, let's talk about some tips for cultivating an abundance mindset outside of that, right? So, I mean, what I'm mentioning is kind of like affirmations, right? You can do like positive affirmations to rewire the real focus of that is to rewire our brain, right? So that we're thinking more in that positive and that possibility trajectory. So, I am capable, right? That's one I actually say every day. I am capable. Um, Another practice that I've taken on is gratitude and being able to write 5 gratitudes down every day to just really make sure that I'm focused on the abundance in my life because I have so much to be grateful and know that I'm blessed, right? So writing them down, at least 3, right? You can think of 3 things every morning or every night, however you want to do it. I think any time is a good time to be in the moment and be present with what we're grateful for. And I know that I actively need to be writing them down to feel the impact of that. So, gratitude practice would be another tip. And really, a big, big, big one would be surrounding yourself with positivity. Now, yeah, it can sound fluffy, but it's true to think about what we put in our ears, the people that speak into our life, right? Thank you for listening to the Choose on Purpose podcast, by the way. You're listening to this, then I'm going to speak life into your ears. I'm here to encourage you to live the life of your dreams and to step into who you're here to be more and more, and to encourage you to have the accountability to take the next step on that journey. Right. So thank you. I appreciate that. Make sure that you share this with anyone that you believe this could also help them. But the tip is, right, getting yourself around supportive people that are positive. And the more time you spend with people who are uplifting and inspiring you, the more that energy is radiating to you. It's It's supporting you more than you even know. I know that you can feel the difference when you're around people that suck the energy from you versus people that are life-giving, right? And they're encouraging and supportive for you. They're positive. It's a totally different vibe, and I encourage you to find the people and the spaces, the opportunities to surround yourself with positivity, as much as possible, right? And we're not saying things don't ever happen that you're out of positivity. I'm saying to make sure that you intentionally have people in your life that you surround yourself that give positive energy to you. Okay. Another tip would be to focus on your personal growth. Embrace those challenges as opportunities to learn and grow, into more of who you are as you're overcoming these challenges, because we're all having them. We're all having challenges. We're here to overcome and to be in a growth state, right? If we're not growing, we are quite literally dying. So, how are you focused on your personal growth this month? I want to encourage you to think of a goal that you can look to that is about your personal growth and who you are becoming and who you are now intentionally for your future self. Okay. And visualize that success. That's another tip. Visualize, those goals and those steps that you are taking in order to achieve that thing and get closer to that opportunity because you are surrounding yourself with positive people. You are focused on the growth that you'll receive and the gratitude for those steps that you are taking while you're positively affirming that you are worthy and capable of doing these things. Okay. So let's take a breath. Those are some tips. Well, those are some tips that I wanted to share about cultivating an abundance mindset. Those are some great, simple ways to start practicing. And, not all of them at once, but just pick one maybe that you aren't doing yet and just start now, right? Commit to starting. Encouraging accountability and support is the next thing I want to discuss. Having a support system that holds you accountable has been life-giving for me. And that's where the community base of On Purpose with Purpose has really been supporting each other with that accountability that is encouragement, because we're doing what we say that we want to do and what we are putting our time, energy, our focus, our attention to on purpose. Nobody else is telling me to do what I'm doing in my time. I'm choosing that. So having the accountability and support is so powerful. So if you have someone in your life that is a great support system that you can ask for that encouraging accountability, make sure that you're doing that, right? That encouraging accountability and support will help keep you on track for those goals that we were just talking about setting. They'll help you stay in alignment with your values, right? And you'll be more connected to this person or these people and communities as well because they're watching you grow. They're getting to witness it and support you and cheer you on. And I love being a champion for people to be on track for what they really want because I want to know those stories. I want to know your heart. I want to know your desire and I want to cheer you on while you do the dang thing, especially when it's scary because that's where I know that I need encouragement all the time for myself, but it's fun when you have other people to enjoy those moments with that are hard, challenging, beautiful, sad, like all of it. I'm here for all of that. So, right, like taking that messy, imperfect action is where I want us to think about how fun it can be to try something new, to kind of be experimenting, breaking things down, micro bites of those manageable things and those steps that we need to be focusing on, or we're going to choose, not need, but we're going to choose to be focused on because we recognize that as we're building that intentionally and celebrating those wins, those are going to stack up, right? Taking those messy and perfect actions little by little, you're building the momentum. You're going to learn from the mistakes. You're going to learn from the successes. I learned from probably more of the failures than successes, but it's an opportunity nonetheless to really pay attention to how it is serving us. So take those steps, right? Every time that we do, we're becoming more of who we are every day because we're stepping out, because we're getting uncomfortable, because we're being authentic and true to who we are by saying to ourselves, or if you actually say it, but right, knowing that it's all like self-discovery and self-improvement, and none of us have all the answers. I sure know that I don't claim to have all the answers. I am an average person that shows up for myself to be committed to, helping other women see themselves differently. It's important. In my journey, it has been pivotal to have tools and tips for self-discovery and self-improvement and being on this growth journey for myself. And you know, one, reflect regularly. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you know that I like to talk about some strategies for reflection. So taking the time to reflect on what are the things that you wrote down in your journal? Are you progressing on them? Right? Even if you weren't ticking off your list of everything every day, the things that you've journaled about at the beginning of the month, how are they going now, on in the middle of the month, right? Reflect on them every week is definitely my encouragement. Um, and then two, right? Seek some feedback. Ask for that constructive feedback from keyword is trusted individuals. So either they've been where you want to go, they know your heart, but will also be truthful to you in a way that is supportive and be direct. Okay. I think it's super important to have those people that you can trust to speak into your life from a neutral position of love for you. Okay. The third would be to invest in yourself. And this was one of the things that I dove headfirst into 10 years ago. But really, yeah, no, it was definitely 10 years ago. Oof. So for a decade, right, I've been buying courses, attending webinars, reading books, listening to audiobooks, seeking experiences, conferences, retreats, workshops, masterminds that really helped me grow as a person. And because I know I've always had this view of I'm taking me, the person that shows up to these things, investing in myself, I'm taking me everywhere. It isn't only for my business, right? It is about the personal growth journey because I take me everywhere, right? I'm the mom, the wife, the daughter, the sister, the coach, the photographer, the CEO, the managing contributor, the managing director, the podcast host, the speaker. I am that person everywhere I go. So these ways that I've invested in myself, they come through in the way that I'm who I am right now in this moment. So this is my encouragement to you to embrace your unique journey and your strengths and those quirky things that you're like, maybe I don't know what I'm doing. I'm giving it my best shot. I believe that there's some possibility here that this is for me, whatever it is. That's my encouragement. There's a Oscar Wilde quote, and it's be yourself. Everyone else is taken. That's always been a fun quote to hear and see because I've always been the girl that friends or family would say, Becky, you're so bold and confident. How do I get more of that how do I get more of that in myself? And for the longest time, I had no clue what anyone was even talking about. I didn't understand that I was, exuding, radiating something differently than any other girl or woman in those stages of my life that I was finally paying attention to what people kept saying over and over. And that really just went with me being myself and walking to the beat of my own drum. And I literally would say, I'm just being myself. And if someone doesn't like who I am, I don't think that I'm meant for them. I don't think I'm their cup of tea, so to say, right? And I was okay with that pretty early on, as I was a tomboy as a child. I had a lot of guy friends. I didn't have problems with girls as friends. I related very easily with the boys. I had all sisters growing up. Like, it was just so much more fun to run around, jump on a trampoline, go down to the water. Like, it was just fun, skipping rocks, getting a little dirty. Um, so I was always just myself. I learned pretty early on to just be who I am, and the people that meshed well with me, or, was into having conversations with me for a little bit, they'd pick up what I'm putting down, and that still holds true to this day for me. If we don't jive well, I don't force it. If things feel out of alignment, I don't force it. I let things go and flow, and that is because I really anchor in on the abundance mindset and trusting in the possibility and what's there. What doors are going to close are going to close. What doors are going to open, they're going to reopen or open fully for you. And I really am here to encourage you to try on that mentality for yourself. If you're practicing it, continue doing that, looking for those possibilities. And I would love for you to be sure that you are in the Choose on Purpose growth community on Facebook, and stay connected in there. Would love to hear from you on what you're taking away from this episode. This is the Choose on Purpose podcast. I'm your host, Becky Ploutz. Love yourself, live fearlessly, and do all things on purpose.